Welcome guys back to another episode of Arsenal Transfer News Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with all players that have been linked with the summer transfer move to Arsenal and away from Arsenal. And we have more news today surrounding the futures of Ngolo Kante, Lucas Paqueta, Yuri Tielemans and Lisandro Martinez. So let's get straight into it. But first of all, Arsenal did play a game a few days ago against Nuremberg in Germany in our German preseason camp before we head off to the USA, and we did win that game 5-3 courtesy of goals from Gabriel Jesus. There was also two on goals, and also Mohamed El Neni scored. Gabriel Jesus scored within 90 seconds of coming on, and I have to say he looked pretty sharp. Debuts also for Matt Turner and Marquinhos as well, and for returning loanees such as Nelson and Maitland-Niles, a good opportunity for them to give them a run out. So a good one over there against Nuremberg for Arsenal, and hopefully we can continue that moving into our next preseason games in the build-up to the Premier League season. But the first bit of news I would like to get into is surrounding N'Golo Kante. As the Sun have come out with a report suggesting that Arsenal are considering a shock approach for Chelsea midfielder N'Golo Kante. The French midfielder is a key man in Thomas Tuchel's squad, but has just 12 months left on his current Blues deal and is one of the club's top earners and has suffered a series of injury setbacks last term. Mikel Arteta wants more world-class defensive talent in his midfield ranks as he looks to improve on Arsenal's fifth-place finish last term. And with Kante's contract running out, Arsenal are ready to sound out whether Chelsea will cash in now. Kante is now 31 and hugely experienced campaigner, though the 400 professional appearances to his name. He won the Premier League titles with Chelsea in 2017 and Leicester City in 2016. And yeah. Conte is currently at home and will miss out on Chelsea's tour of the USA. Non-US citizens are not allowed into the country until they're fully vaccinated, and it looks like the Conte isn't. So we have been linked to the move for N'Golo Conte within the last 12 hours. And I have to say that we are quite late on it because obviously if you guys do remember back in, I think it was 2016, I think it was, or 2017, Arsenal signed Granit Xhaka, and we were about to sign N'Golo Kante from Leicester City. So yeah, I think it was 2016, and Xhaka was more expensive, but the overall package for Conte, including the wages, was more expensive, so we went for Xhaka instead. And obviously, as we know, that proved out quite costly for us. But look, Conte is a very good midfielder. We all know this. He is world class and has shown that in many, many games. And look, he is your defensive midfielder, and he will do an amazing job. And I think next to Thomas Partey, he can do an incredible job, and I have no doubt about that. However, my two concerns are he is 31, so his age is getting on, and whether he will fit into the youth project kind of makes me doubt this a lot. Also, adding to the fact that would he actually want to leave Chelsea as well to join an Arsenal team or in the Europa League? Would he want to do that? I'm not too sure, especially with Thomas Partey still at the club. Obviously, there is a bit of doubt surrounding his future with ongoing allegations against him, supposed rumors that he has allegations against him. Obviously, you have to word these things quite carefully. But again, we're not too sure what's going on in that situation, but it could have something to do with that. Who knows? But look, N'Golo Kante is someone that could cost a bit, and do Arsenal really want him? I'm not too sure. Again, this is a report that has kind of come out of nowhere in terms of we haven't really been linked with him before, since obviously we were in for him in 2016. But look, he is an incredible player. We all know this. I would try and go for it for the right price, and obviously injuries are an issue for him as well. Thomas Partey also has injury issues as well, so it's kind of like that, and we don't want too many players injured all the time, but he's a good option. But leave your thoughts in the comment section below about N'Golo Kante. The next player I want to talk about is a Lyon midfielder by the names of Lucas Paqueta. Now, we haven't really been linked with Paqueta properly, but we have been linked with Lyon players as of recently, especially Bruno Guimaraes, who ended up going to Newcastle. Now, Lucas Paqueta is another player who Newcastle are also looking at, as well as other clubs. However, according to Get French Football News, it seems that Lucas Paqueta has asked Lyon to leave the club, and the club will allow him to do so if they receive a sufficient bid, and that's according to tomorrow's L'Equipe. Now look, apparently this will cost up to 58 to 60 million pounds. Now, for someone who has quite a similar profile to Martin Odegaard and Fabio Vieira, this signing just makes absolutely no sense to me because, again, he's another skinny player who has technique. Um, and yeah, that's just it, isn't it? He's kind of like Fabio Vieira in that sense. And to be honest, he's just like that. He's just kind of like Fabio Vieira, to be honest, but a bit more down the line probably. He's like 22, 23 years old. He's a decent player. But again, it's the physicality. Should we really spend around 60 million pounds on a player that will spend you have time to, he'll need time to try and adapt to the league physically, like Fabio Vieira, and like Martin Odegaard had to and still is doing. Is it worth that investment? Probably not. So I'm probably inching away from this move. If we didn't sign Fabio Vieira, I'd probably be more open to it. But the sort of price tag we're looking at is quite hefty as well. It's not a cheap deal to do, and I think he still has like 2 years left on his deal. So Lucas Paqueta for me is a no in this situation. But guys, leave your thoughts in the comment section about Lucas Paqueta because I do think he's a good player. Like, I'm not doubting his ability, but again, for the price we'd have to pay, and secondly, whether he can adapt to the league quick enough are my two doubts for this one. But he's a good player, and whoever signs him will have a good player on their hands. But for me, I think with the situation we're at with midfielders, we're probably better off with someone like Ngolo Kante, who is more defensive, to support Thomas Partey, than someone like than Lucas Paqueta, who is very similar to Fabio Vieira and Martin Odegaard. So that's just what I think on Lucas Paqueta. But leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. The next player I want to talk about is Yuri Tielemans. Now, look, just a quick update on Yuri Tielemans. I'm not going to talk too much about him. But look, Manchester United do have serious interest in him. Arsenal do as well. And again, he is more of a box to box. Now, we've talked about like Lucas Paqueta. He can also play in like that Yuri Tielemans position as in box to box. But the reason I would go for Yuri Tielemans is because he's cheaper. He's much cheaper, 30 million, and he's Premier League proven. For a Premier League proven player to be around 30 million quid, for the quality that Yuri Tielemans has, I think it's brilliant value, and I think we should definitely be going in for Yuri Tielemans. But I just have the feeling about this. I've said this about the Yuri Tielemans deal before, is that it seems like it's a deal that's gonna happen later and later in the window, like a deadline day move. It kind of just gives me a deadline day move vibe, but just for the simple fact that I think Arsenal want to do other business first, whether that's a winger, whether that's Lisandro Martinez, whether that's something else we're not told about. I think it could be one of those situations where we do Yuri Tielemans very late in the window if we get an opportunity in Man United or another club haven't gone in for him. And at the moment, it still seems like the Yuri Tielemans is waiting on the Arsenal move, and everything we've heard inches towards that he will still sign for Arsenal. But look, again, we can't make assumptions, and I think with someone like Yuri Tielemans, I think it's more of a wait and watch. It probably will happen, but I think it won't happen suddenly. There won't suddenly be a time in the next week where it's just suddenly going to happen. I think this is something that will drag on in the background and probably develop towards later in the transfer window, probably in the last day. Again, I could be wrong, but look, Yuri Tielemans still wants Arsenal. Arsenal have been working on this deal for a very long time. It seems like personal times have been agreed with Yuri Tielemans 100%, and it's just a matter of putting the right money on the table for Leicester City to accept. Now, it has been said that Yuri Tielemans is open to a contract extension at Leicester if he doesn't sign for a club this summer. So that will be after the summer, it won't be during. So I think Yuri's probably still waiting for a move. But that is the news on Yuri Tielemans. Now, the last bit of news on a look at is Lisandro Martinez. Now, he has returned to Ajax after his holidays, and he has stated that he's willing to push for a move away. Now, all the reports that are coming out within the last 1 or 2 days have pointed towards a move to Manchester United. Now, Manchester United were first in for his counterpart Yuri and Timber, but it looks like that deal is now off, as he posted in social media across tweets or something like that, signaling that he is still staying at Ajax. Now, Lisandro Martinez is another player that Arsenal have been chasing, as well as Manchester United. Arsenal are still set to be in the race for Lisandro, but Ajax do want around 50 million euros, as we all know. And apparently, Manchester the bid that Manchester United have already tabled for Ajax isn't enough yet for Lisandro Martinez, and this deal is still ongoing. And I think this is one that maybe Arsenal could lose out on, quite possibly, because it does seem like Manchester United will be in the driving seat, especially if they do have Eric Ten Hag. It is said that Lisandro likes Arteta's project, but again, when a former manager is, calling you, when you know his methods already, when you know what sort of things he's going to do with you, and you know the manager, you're more inclined to go to him. And I think that's more of a psychological thing more than anything else. But again, it's still possible. But I think if I was Lisandro, would probably end up going to United, so I think he might do. But yeah, that is the news on Lisandro Martinez, and concludes our transfer news daily for today. If you haven't enjoyed, please leave and subscribe, turn on the post notifications, as we are trying to do this most of the summer at least, into the build up to the Premier League season. And leave your Premier League predictions in the door. What do you guys think? Where are Arsenal going to finish this season with the potential signings that we could make? Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.